Say this one line: God will heal you, beloved. There is a mystery hidden in plain sight, a truth so simple that many overlook it, yet it carries the weight of eternity. You have been taught to look outward for healing, to chase remedies, to beg heaven for relief, but I tell you, healing is already within you, waiting for a word to awaken it. God does not need to travel from afar to touch you. He abides in you as your very breath, as your very life. And the moment you speak from that inner place of knowing, all that is broken begins to mend, all that is crooked straightens, and all that is weak rises in strength. One line, spoken in faith, can call forth the unseen into the seen, for the spoken word is not mere sound, it is spirit made flesh. Today I will reveal to you that line, but more importantly, I will show you how to speak it with the consciousness that makes mountains move and diseases vanish. The creative word, the healing power of a spoken line, there is a secret woven into the fabric of existence, a truth so profound that when you awaken to it, everything about your life changes instantly. That secret is the creative word, the spoken line that carries within it the same force that called light out of darkness and formed worlds from the invisible. To most, words are casual sounds, fleeting expressions, or tools for communication. But to the awakened soul, a word is seed, power, and law. Every word we utter springs from an inner state of being, and what is released from within us cannot return void. It must accomplish the purpose for which it was spoken. This is why one single line, when spoken in faith, can heal the body, transform the mind, and set the spirit free. It is not the length of the prayer, nor the many repetitions of phrases that move mountains. It is the quality of consciousness and the certainty behind the word that makes it creative. When you speak a line from the place of divine authority, you are not begging for healing. You are declaring that healing already is. You are not asking for power to come down from above. You are releasing the power that abides within you. Consider the truth that in the beginning all was formless, void, and dark until the word was spoken. It was not action, striving, or effort that brought creation into being. It was the utterance of a single phrase filled with the certainty of fulfillment. Let there be. This is the blueprint of all healing and all transformation. In your own life, the body may lie in weakness, the mind may be clouded with fear, and the heart may be heavy with sorrow. Yet when you rise within and speak one line with unwavering faith, the light pierces through the darkness, and life answers to your command. The sickness does not resist because it has no true power of its own. It is only the shadow of belief. But the word carries substance, reality, and authority, and when it is spoken, the shadow must vanish. The power of the creative word lies not in shouting louder, nor in dramatic displays, but in quiet certainty, in the deep knowing that what is spoken is already done. This is why so many speak words without results, for they speak from fear, doubt, or desperation, while within they still cling to the image of sickness. But when the inner eye sees wholeness, and the lips declare it as truth, healing must manifest, for the spoken word and the inner vision together form the creative act. Think of your speech as the brush with which you paint reality. Every line is a stroke upon the canvas of life, and whatever you declare with conviction becomes the scene you walk into. The one line you speak in faith is not merely information, it is transformation. It is the signal sent to the subconscious mind that the old state is finished, and the new state has begun. And because the subconscious cannot resist the authority of faith-filled words, it will reshape the body and circumstances to match the declaration. You may think, but how can one line hold such power? Look again at creation. Did the infinite speak in volumes, or did he simply say, "Let there be light"? And light appeared? Did he argue with the darkness, beg it to go away, or fight against it? No, he simply spoke what was already established in divine reality, and the outer world aligned, so it is with you. To speak a healing line is not to wrestle with sickness, but to stand as one with God, declaring that his life is your life, his strength is your strength, his wholeness is your wholeness. In that moment of utterance, you cease to be a seeker and become a creator. You stop looking for healing outside and realize the healer is within. That one line you speak with faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the spark that ignites the hidden fire of divine life within your being. It is the moment when the invisible wholeness of your spirit takes on form in your body. The creative word is not bound by time. It does not wait for months of recovery, for it carries the instant power of completion. Once spoken, it is done in the eternal now, and though appearances may take time to shift, the reality of healing is sealed in the moment the line leaves your lips in faith. Many lie sick because they speak sickness. They confess pain, declare weakness, and testify of defeat, and by their own words they hold their bondage in place. But when you reverse the confession and align your lips with the truth of God's indwelling life, the chains fall and healing flows like a river. Do not underestimate the power of what you speak, for life and death are in the tongue, and those who understand this truth eat the fruit of their words. The one line you say is not a formula, not a charm, but a key that unlocks the door of consciousness. It is your way of saying to the inner self, "This is who I am now. This is what I consent to be." And because all creation responds to consent, the body follows the decree of the heart expressed in word. The creative word heals because it bypasses resistance. It does not argue with reason nor bow to circumstance. It simply asserts the reality of divine wholeness and leaves no room for contradiction. And once spoken, heaven and earth must align with it. So when you stand in your room, in your pain, in your weakness, and speak the line with faith, you are not merely whispering into empty air. You are shaping eternity. You are commanding the very cells of your body to rise. You are aligning your spirit with the healer within. Say it once with conviction, and it is done. Say it with feeling, and it becomes flesh. The creative word is the secret key, and the moment you realize this, you will never again underestimate the power of what you speak. Imagination as the healing ground, where wholeness is born before healing can ever touch the body, before restoration can ever be seen in the visible world. It must first be conceived and nurtured in the invisible realm of imagination. For imagination is the womb of creation and the ground where the seeds of wholeness take root. Too many look to the outer world for confirmation of their healing, scanning their bodies for signs of change, listening to reports of men, and measuring progress by what can be touched or seen, but they fail to recognize that the outer is but a shadow, a mirror of the inner picture held in consciousness. If within you still see yourself weak, frail, broken, or bound, then no matter how much you beg or strive, your outer life will reflect the inner image. But if within you dare to see yourself whole, radiant, strong, and free, even while the body still carries the marks of pain, then you have entered the secret chamber where true healing begins. Imagination is not a child's plaything, nor is it idle daydreaming. It is the workshop of God within you, the place where invisible substance takes form, where the unseen reality is shaped before it is born into time and space. Every healing you will ever receive must pass through this holy ground, for it is impossible to manifest what you do not first consent to see within yourself. And here lies the challenge, for most men and women, when they close their eyes, still carry the picture of their affliction. They replay scenes of suffering, they anticipate future pain, they rehearse the report of failure, and then wonder why their prayers bear no fruit. But those who awaken to the truth understand that to heal, they must replace the inner picture. They must persistently hold in imagination the scene that they long for, until it becomes more real to them than the outer world. To imagine yourself whole is not to deny the facts, but to transcend them. It is to say within, though my body speaks of weakness, I choose to see myself strong. Though my mind echoes with fear, I choose to see myself at peace. Though my circumstance declares limitation, I choose to see myself free. And as you hold that picture in imagination, as you clothe it with feeling, as you walk in it until it feels like the most natural state in the world, the body and life must conform to that vision, for imagination is not mere fantasy, it is creative law. The subconscious, which governs every cell of your body, every beat of your heart, every function of your being, cannot distinguish between reality and vividly imagined truth. Whatever image you impress upon it with faith, it accepts as fact and begins to rearrange the body and circumstances to match. If you imagine sickness, it will give you sickness. If you imagine health, it will give you health. If you see yourself as weak, it will sustain weakness. If you see yourself as whole, it will call forth wholeness. This is why the one line you speak in faith becomes powerful only when it is married to imagination. To speak healing words while still seeing yourself broken within is to plant seed on stony ground. It cannot take root. But when the line is spoken while the imagination already beholds the body restored, then the word becomes flesh and healing springs forth. Imagination is the bridge between the spoken word and the manifested reality. It is the soil in which the seed of the word is planted, and just as no farmer sows seed into barren, unprepared ground, so you must cultivate imagination as fertile soil for the creative word to blossom. Begin by quieting yourself, closing the eyes to the outer world, and entering the inner sanctuary. There, paint the picture of what you desire to be. See yourself rising from the bed with strength. See your hands moving freely, your breath flowing easily, your face glowing with life. Hear the sound of your laughter, feel the weight of wholeness in your body, and let it be so real within that you forget, if only for a moment, the present appearance. This inner scene is the reality, and as you dwell upon it, it begins to outpicture in the world around you. Many stumble here because they expect instant outer change, and when it does not appear immediately, they abandon the vision, but persistence is the secret. Just as a seed requires time to break the ground, so does the imagined scene require time to materialize. Yet once it is planted and consistently nurtured with faith, its manifestation is inevitable. The body may resist, the mind may doubt, appearances may contradict, but imagination, when held firmly, has the final word. Think of this truth. Every invention, every building, every piece of music, every work of art, every healing, and every miracle began as an image unseen by others, but vividly alive in the one who dared to hold it. The chair you sit on, the home you live in, the road you travel, all once existed only in imagination until they were given form. Why then would your healing be any different? The law does not change. It is always imagination first, manifestation second. The outer world is the shadow, the inner world is the substance, so let your imagination dwell not on what you fear, but on what you desire. Refuse to replay the image of sickness, for every repetition strengthens its hold. Instead, with determination, call up the picture of your wholeness until it becomes your dwelling place. Feel it, live in it, walk in it, rejoice in it, as though it were already done. For in truth it is already done, and imagination is the means by which you align yourself with what has always been yours. The healer is not outside. The healing does not descend from some distant sky. It is already within you, and imagination is the lamp that lights the path to it. When you speak the one line in faith, let imagination be the ground that makes it alive. Do not speak from emptiness, but from fullness. Do not declare from fear, but from vision. For when word and imagination unite, nothing can resist the manifestation. Imagination heals because it impresses the subconscious with the truth of wholeness, and once impressed, the subconscious has no choice but to externalize it. This is the law, unchanging, impartial, and certain. So guard your imagination, for it is the sacred ground of your life. So only what you wish to reap, see only what you wish to experience. And when you speak your healing line, let it be as one who has already walked in the garden of health within, so that the outer garden may soon bloom in the same glory. Imagination is the healing ground, and whosoever dares to dwell in it with faith shall surely taste the fruit of restoration. Union of word and feeling, the secret of living healing. There is a hidden law of creation that few understand, and because they do not grasp it, their prayers fall empty and Their words return without power, for it is not the word alone that heals, nor the feeling alone that transforms, but the union of word and feeling together that brings the unseen into manifestation. For a word spoken without feeling is like a seed cast upon dry stone. It carries potential, but cannot root, while feeling without the guiding word is like water poured out upon sand. It stirs the soul, but does not give direction. Yet when word and feeling meet in perfect agreement, creation is born, healing flows, and life itself is renewed. For the word gives the seed, and the feeling gives its soil, warmth, and life until it rises into form. Consider how often people pray or declare with their lips words of healing, strength, or wholeness, yet within they still feel fear, doubt, or despair, and because their inner emotion contradicts their outer speech, the subconscious receives confusion and manifests nothing, for the subconscious does not respond to the noise of words, but to the reality of the feeling behind them. A man may declare, "I am healed," while his heart trembles in terror at the thought of disease, and though the words are correct, they carry no power because the feeling is false. But another may whisper, "I am whole," with quiet confidence, filled with peace and certainty, and though his lips move but once, his entire being vibrates with agreement, and healing swiftly follows. Feeling is the secret key that unlocks the word, for feeling is the language of the subconscious, the power that moves unseen forces into alignment, and the moment you clothe your word with authentic feeling, it becomes law. This is why it is written that faith without works is dead, for the work of faith is the inner act of feeling the truth of what you declare. To say, "I am healed," while still feeling sick is to speak as an outsider longing for what is not, but to say, "I am healed," while feeling already whole is to speak as a creator declaring what already is. Feeling is not forced emotion, it is the deep inward acceptance of a state as true. It is the shift from asking to knowing, from hoping to possessing, from looking outward to resting inward. When your word is wrapped in this inner certainty, the subconscious accepts it without resistance, and the outer world reshapes itself accordingly. Imagine planting a seed in soil. You cover it, water it, and then rest in the feeling of certainty that it will grow, not because you see it yet, but because you know the life within the seed and the law of growth will fulfill itself. So it is with healing. Your spoken word is the seed, but the feeling of already being whole is the fertile ground that guarantees the harvest. Without feeling, you may speak thousands of lines, but the seed lies dormant. With feeling, even one line is enough to transform a life. The union of word and feeling is also the secret behind why some prayers seem unanswered. For many pray with words of light while feeling darkness within, asking with their lips for what they secretly feel cannot be theirs. And because their inner state outweighs their outer speech, they receive not according to their words, but according to their feeling. To heal, then, you must bring both into harmony, allowing your word and your feeling to say the same thing. If your lips declare life, let your heart feel life. If your lips declare peace, let your heart feel peace. If your lips declare healing, let your heart feel already restored. This alignment is the true act of faith, and it cannot fail. Even science whispers this truth when it reveals that emotion influences the body's chemistry. The cells respond to thought, and the nervous system is altered by belief. Yet this is no new discovery. It is the eternal law of creation, as within, so without. Your inner state, word joined to feeling, writes the script of your outer experience. If you wish to see change, do not labor to alter the shadows of the outer world, but transform the inner vibration of your being. Speak your healing line, but speak it with conviction. Declare your wholeness, but feel it as present reality. Let the sensation of relief, gratitude, joy, and freedom wash over you as though the healing has already occurred, and in that moment of union, creation is finished. The subconscious accepts it as done, the body begins to align, and circumstances rearrange themselves to mirror your inner state. This is why gratitude is such a powerful force in healing, for gratitude is the feeling of having already received, and when paired with the word of declaration, it seals the reality in consciousness. To say thank you, Father, it is done, while feeling the relief of completion is to stand as one who has already crossed into the promised land, and the outer world cannot resist manifesting it. The union of word and feeling is also the secret behind miracles. Every miracle begins with someone daring to feel the truth of the word before the evidence appears. They declare, I am whole, and they feel it in their bones. They declare, I am free, and they walk in that liberty within. They declare, I am strong, and they carry the sensation of strength even while weakness seems to linger, and soon the outer condition yields to the inner decree. This law is impartial. It does not favor one above another. It simply responds to the vibration you sustain. If you sustain fear while speaking faith, fear will win. But if you sustain faith while speaking faith, nothing is impossible. And so I tell you, the power is not in multiplying words, but in uniting word and feeling until they are one voice. One line spoken in faith, filled feeling carries more power than hours of begging, because creation is not about quantity but quality of consciousness. Let this be your practice. Speak the line you have chosen. I am healed. I am whole. The life of God flows through me, and then pause to feel it. Do not rush past the feeling. Let it rise in you as though it were already true. Imagine how it feels to walk in freedom, how it feels to breathe with ease, how it feels to live in radiant health, and let that sensation mingle with your word until the two are inseparable. Repeat it until it feels natural, until it becomes your state of being. In that moment, you no longer pray as a seeker, but live as one who has received, and life cannot deny you, for you have already claimed it within. The union of word and feeling is the great secret of living healing, and when you master it, you will know that the line you speak is not a plea but a decree, not a hope but a reality, not a wish but a command backed by the creative force of God within you. Shifting from disease to wholeness. Transformation of awareness healing is never truly the struggle of body against sickness, nor the fight of man against weakness, but always the quiet shift of awareness from the state of disease into the state of wholeness, for whatever you consent to see within yourself will govern your outer experience, and as long as you keep identifying with the image of sickness, your body will remain its servant. Yet the moment you withdraw consent and place your awareness upon health, strength, and vitality, the body must obey the new master, for it is a servant of consciousness and nothing more. This is why so many fail in their prayers and treatments. They focus their entire energy on resisting sickness, on watching symptoms, on rehearsing pain, and in doing so, they give more life to the very thing they wish to escape. For what you fight you fuel, and what you resist you strengthen. When you cease to fight and instead rest your gaze upon wholeness, when you stop asking, when will I be healed, and instead declare, I am whole now, the shift begins, the inner tide turns, and the outer world follows suit. Disease, no matter how frightening its form, is nothing but a state of mind crystallized into form, a shadow cast by inner belief, and just as shadows vanish when light is turned on, so disease dissolves when awareness returns to the truth of God's indwelling life. To shift awareness is to step out of the prison of appearances and into the liberty of truth. It is to refuse to measure reality by what the senses scream, and instead to measure it by what the spirit knows. Imagine two men in a room. One sees only darkness because his eyes are closed, the other sees light because his eyes are open, yet both stand in the same room. So it is with you. If your inner eyes are closed to truth, you will see only sickness, limitation, and despair. But if your eyes are open to the light of wholeness, you will see that health was always present, waiting to be acknowledged. Shifting awareness is not denying the fact of sickness, but denying its authority to define you, and in that moment of refusal, you dethrone it and enthrone wholeness. The line you speak in faith becomes powerful only when it carries this shift within it. For to say, I am healed, while still feeling yourself a sick person hoping for relief, is to remain chained to the old state, but to say, I am healed, while identifying yourself as health itself, is to move into a new state of being, and once you enter that state inwardly, the body has no choice but to express it outwardly. Everything in life is a state of consciousness, and you are always occupying one state or another. You can live in the state of disease, where every thought, feeling, and action revolves around pain, or you can move into the state of wholeness, where your thoughts rest on vitality, your feelings radiate peace, and your words declare life. The key is not effort but acceptance. Accepting wholeness as your true identity, even while appearances suggest otherwise. Do not wait for the body to change before you shift. Shift first, and the body will change. This is why it is written that you must walk by faith and not by sight. For sight shows you the shadow of the old state, but faith beholds the reality of the new. To shift is to live as though the healing were already complete. To walk, talk, and think from the place of wholeness until it feels more real than the evidence of sickness. It may feel unnatural at first, for the senses cry out and demand attention, but persistence wears down resistance, and soon the new state becomes natural while the old fades away. Think of an actor who takes on a role. At first, he must practice the lines, rehearse the gestures, and discipline himself to enter the character. But with time and persistence, he becomes so absorbed in the role that he forgets his former self, and the audience sees only the character he embodies. So it is with you. At first, shifting into wholeness feels like pretending, but if you persist in the feeling, the pretense becomes reality, and you find yourself living in the state you once only imagined. The subconscious mind, which controls the body, does not judge between true or false, fact or fiction. It simply accepts the state you inhabit and expresses it. If you live in disease, consciousness, it keeps the body bound to sickness. If you live in wholeness, consciousness, it sets the body free to express health. This is why healing is not a matter of struggling against symptoms, but of changing residence, moving inwardly from one state to another. And this movement is always by faith, by imagination, and by feeling. Begin by withdrawing attention from the appearance of disease. Do not obsess over symptoms. Do not repeat the reports of limitation. Do not rehearse the pain in your conversations. Every time you speak of disease, you strengthen it. Every time you give it attention, you feed it. Instead, shift your gaze inward and see yourself as whole. Picture the body as perfect, radiant with life. Feel the joy of freedom, the peace of health, the strength of vitality. Let these inner images and feelings become your dwelling place. Then, when you speak your healing line, it is not the cry of a sick man, but the decree of one who has already entered wholeness. The words carry power because they match the state you occupy, and creation always flows from state, not from struggle. Shifting awareness also requires that you release the identity of sickness. Stop saying my pain, my disease, my weakness, for these words bind you to the old state. Instead, refuse ownership and identify with health. Say, the life of God is my life, wholeness is my nature, strength is who I am, and let these declarations recondition your subconscious until it accepts them as fact. Identity is the key, for you can never manifest beyond who you believe yourself to be. If you believe you are sick trying to get well, you will struggle endlessly, but if you believe you are health itself, sickness has no ground to stand on. The shift may be gradual, but it is certain, for awareness always determines expression. Even when appearances linger, do not be deceived. The old state is dissolving, and the new state is unfolding. Hold firm, persist, and do not waver, for the law cannot fail. To shift from disease to wholeness is to awaken to the truth that you were never truly broken, only asleep to your wholeness, and that healing is not the acquisition of something new, but the unveiling of what has always been yours. The body is but clay shaped by the potter of consciousness. Change the potter's vision, and the clay must follow. So I tell you, stop fighting disease, stop rehearsing pain, stop identifying with limitation. Lift your gaze, shift your awareness, and claim your seat in the state of wholeness. Speak the line of healing not as one begging, but as one possessing. Feel the life of God rising in you, flowing through every cell, radiating from your being. Live now as though it were so, and soon you will see it is so. This is the true healing, not the battle against shadows, but the awakening to light, not the conquest of sickness, but the acceptance of wholeness. Shift your awareness today, and the world will shift with you. God within is the healer, awakening to the indwelling power. The greatest mistake humanity has ever made is to believe that God is far away, that his healing hand must descend from some distant heaven to touch us, that he must be persuaded through endless pleading to intervene in our pain, but the truth hidden in plain sight is that the healer has never been outside of you, for God is not a visitor who comes and goes. He is the very life within you, the breath in your lungs, the power that animates your being, invisible essence that holds every cell, every thought, every heartbeat together, and until you awaken to this indwelling presence, you will continue to look outward for what is already yours. The one line you are called to speak in faith is not a magical formula, not a code to summon power from the skies, but an awakening word, a declaration that reminds you of what has always been true, that the healer lives in you, that the life of God is your life, that his power is your power, and that healing is not the gift of a stranger, but the birthright of a child of God. When you declare, God is within me, and he is my health, you are not creating something new, but unveiling the eternal reality that sickness has no place where the fullness of God abides. To seek healing outside yourself is to ignore the fountain bubbling within your own soul. Look carefully at nature. A tree draws life from its roots, not from another tree. A spring flows from within the mountain, not from another land. A flame burns from the spark within its core, not from outside fuel alone. So it is with you. Healing rises from within because the divine healer has taken up his dwelling in you. The moment you accept this truth, fear loses its grip because you no longer wait for someone to rescue you. You stand as one who knows the source of life flows ceaselessly within. God is not separate from your body. He is the intelligence directing every organ, the rhythm guiding every breath, the light sustaining every cell. When you speak your healing line in faith, you are not reaching out to the heavens, but calling forth the power that already fills you, commanding it into expression. Disease thrives on separation. Consciousness on the lie that you are alone, abandoned, disconnected from the source of life. But the instant you awaken to union, the lie dissolves and healing begins. Wholeness is not achieved by dragging God down, but by lifting your awareness up to his indwelling presence. Consider this. Every act of Jesus, every healing word spoken, was not the work of a man petitioning an external deity, but of one who lived in full awareness of the Father within him. He said plainly, "The Father who dwells in me does the works." That same truth is yours today, for the same indwelling Spirit that raised him from death abides in you, quickening your mortal body. Healing is not a miracle performed from without. It is the natural expression of God within, revealed the moment you align with it. If you are sick, it is not that God is absent, but that you have forgotten his presence. If you are weak, it is not that he has withdrawn, but that your awareness has strayed to shadows. The remedy is always remembrance, awakening, alignment. When you say the one line in faith, God within me is my healer, you recenter yourself in truth, and the body, which listens only to consciousness, responds with restoration. Do not look to men, systems, or rituals as your ultimate healer. They may assist, they may serve as channels, but the source is always God in you. Just as no river can exist apart from its spring, no healing can exist apart from the indwelling Spirit. Even medicine heals only because it awakens or assists what God has already placed within the body. When you awaken fully to this truth, dependency on externals vanishes and peace arises, because you know that the fountain of health is inexhaustible and ever present within you. To live in this awareness is to walk unafraid, for even if sickness approaches, you know it cannot abide where God reigns. To embody this truth, practice the inward turning. Each day, close your eyes, silence the noise of fear, and rest in the stillness within. There, declare the line with conviction, "The healer lives in me." Do not simply say it, feel it. Sense the divine life flowing through every nerve, every vein, every organ. Imagine light filling you from crown to sole, not descending from above, but radiating outward from your very center. Rest in this vision until you feel its reality. Soon you will notice peace rising where fear once ruled, strength flowing where weakness lingered, life renewing what seemed broken. This is not imagination only. It is the unveiling of what always was. The body is the servant of spirit. It cannot resist when spirit speaks in authority. God within is the only true healer, and when you awaken to him, you no longer ask, "Will I be healed?" but declare I am whole, for he lives in me. Wholeness is not something to attain, it is something to reveal. You are not a vessel begging to be filled, but a spring waiting to be unsealed. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this truth. The world will tell you healing is complicated, reserved for the few, dependent on chance, but I tell you it is as simple as awakening to the presence already within. Speak the line, feel its truth, live from it, and healing must follow, for it is the law of life that the inner reality shapes the outer form. To deny this is to live in bondage, to accept it is to walk in liberty. Today, then, choose to awaken. Stop searching, stop pleading, stop waiting for an outside rescue. Turn within and recognize the healer at the core of your being. Say with conviction, God within me is my health, my strength, my life. Let this be your dwelling place, your identity, your state of consciousness, and as you persist, you will see the outer world bow to the truth of the inner. Fear will dissolve, weakness will vanish, sickness will fade, for nothing can stand against the indwelling God. This is the mystery revealed, that the kingdom of God is within you, that the healer is not afar but at hand, that the line you speak in faith is not a request but a revelation of eternal truth. Embrace it, and you will find that healing is not a gift you beg for, but a reality you awaken to, not tomorrow, not someday, but now.